if you're getting any feedback in terms of the sound quality. There's also one more that I will pick and then I will come back to you. Someone says, Grace Emmy, then work with IPOP and be one. Why are you not working together with the IPOP? I'll go back again to you, Mr. Tony.
Yes, the Lower Niger Congress, like I told you, is the aggregation of all the self-determination initiatives across that whole territory. The Igbo side, the Ijaw side, the Ogoni side, all of whatever you have in southern Nigeria outside Yoruba land. Now, the Lower Niger Congress went to the leaderships of every one identifiable self-determination platform that existed, including the one of IPOP. I had a meeting of 4 hours in 2013 in Lagos with Nnamdi Kanu, with nobody else present. Just as we had gone with Uwazurike, Asari, Benjamin Omuka, all of those, including the ones overseas. We put this matter on the table, say, gentlemen, what we are talking about here, what is it you are pursuing? What is it that you want to see? They said they want Biafra. I said, do you have a map of the territory that you want independence for? Where it begins and where it ends? No such map. The moment you use the word Biafra, it presupposes the inclusion of Ijaw, Anang, Ogoni, Efik, all of them in that flank. If you have not discussed with them and you go and sit in London and broadcast to them that you are restoring Biafra, and suddenly you are your supreme leader of it, and you have a Igbo deputy supreme leader, all your principal officers are, we told them, look, it is self-determination. It is self-determination that is called. There must be a process to it. It is the constitution that is standing between us and what you want. It is the constitution imposed that made us slaves in this place. And therefore, the LNC is approaching it from, an angle of strategy, an angle of process, an angle of reality, to say, we must have something that will lead to the point at which our people will be voting in a referendum. Nnamdi rejected every single, there were 8 points of what we said needed to be in place if we are discussing self-determination. There must be a map to it. There must be an understanding with all the groups that are in the territory, which the LNC spent 6 years doing before we even, I'm sure you saw one video in which Asari was talking about being a part of the formation of LNC. And from there we said, there must be a strategy for how this constitution that was an apartheid constitution will be taken down. He said to me, everybody knows where Biafra is. That was his answer to the matter of definite map. In the matter of what is your new discussion with the Anang, the Efik, the Eastern minorities so-called, who did not go with the Biafra of 1967 for whatever reason, right or wrong? Never meeting them to discuss anything with them, but you are proclaiming to them. You know his answer to me? He said to me that that those people don't understand what we are discussing, that when we begin to do Biafra, they will come and join. I said to him, the constitution by which Nigeria is prevailing is owning and controlling the territory. What's your strategy for taking it out? Because as long as that constitution is in place, elections will happen every 4 years. The outside world will think we're in a democracy, whereas we're not. You know what he answered me? He said to me that I'm still discussing the constitution of Nigeria, that he is talking about Biafra. Meaning that he doesn't know that it is the constitution that is standing, the constitution of Nigeria that is standing between him and that objective. How will this matter be, you're organizing protests and all kinds of things, how will this matter be consummated, assuming you are going to succeed? We have a plan that, yes, we have a plan that is tailored to end in referendum. And that is why we had to go to all the, units in the land, and we went to the UN to find out how exactly, we will fit into the entire thing. And All these things were shared, most of those things in confidence at the time, to say, this is how we have to do it, to the point where people should go to vote. If our people get to vote in a referendum and they say they want to remain in that union, all well and good. But
let me quickly butt in there before you go further. Do you, I mean, we don't have referendum in this constitution that we have present, I believe so. So
we do not
how
need,
would that...
We do not. Your question is wrong in itself. It's like going to ask Mandela or Oliver Tambo a question about what is not written into apartheid they want. We are saying that the constitution is a fraud. We're insisting that it has been tolerated for too long and it must now go down.
So I'll let you go back to that conversation. How do you now dissolve this constitution to achieve that aim?
You say what?
How would you dissolve this present constitution that you've been calling, is not the right constitution? That constitution, was not the constitution, that is meant to be for the purpose. How do you take off this constitution completely to get to, again, this conversation that you said you had with, Nnamdi Kanu? You did talk about the constitution, but the constitution is still being used at the moment. How do you take away that constitution to get back to what you're asking for?
We're not, the right to self-determination is inalienable. Your fundamental human right. It doesn't depend on whether Buhari likes it or not. Your fundamental human right is your fundamental human right. If the country subscribes, that's it. It doesn't depend on anybody. Therefore, the right to self-determination, especially as elevated in 2007, the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, I want you to listen carefully to this. The indigenous peoples, that right to self-determination, by that instrument of the UN, you are entitled to be in your space if you're a distinct nationality on your ancestral space. If you are a distinct nationality on your ancestral space, the Yoruba is a distinct nationality in the ancestral space. Therefore, they're entitled. Ogoni, as small as they are a distinct group ancestral space. Therefore, what we are saying is that those various nationalities that qualify, what the LNC has done through the MNN outreach is to aggregate them into formations. Was it not by proclamation that Nigeria came into being in 1914, when the crown was sitting on our sovereignty? What we are saying today is that on account of our sovereignty, as a majority, we can say that we are no longer bound by that constitution, and we have done it on a scale that the international community took note. You saw, what do you think the Yoruba went out to do on the 7th of September at Adama Sigma Stadium in Ibadan? Was it not that they said that that constitution is no longer tolerable to them as basis of the union, that they would rather find their way out of the place that is choking them? The same way we did in the East, all the nationalities coming to Port Harcourt to say that this constitution is not acceptable to us. If 3/4 of the country, if the matter go to referendum today, it cannot be less than 75–80% of the country saying, let us do away with it. If our signature was forged and put on a document, and we have taken all these processes to make sure it doesn't become, anarchy, and some people, a minority, because they are holding on to gun, sit on one side to say, oh, all of you, we will overrun you. If you talk, we kill you. They need to go to look for guns to buy. That constitution must. The owners of the enterprise, the owners of Nigeria, the indigenous nationalities that have organized themselves, are saying no more business under that constitution. If anybody is mad enough to be thinking of going to another election in 2023 under that constitution, imagine I asked you a question back. Was it by going to kneel down in Pretoria and begging the Boers that South African constitution, apartheid constitution, was taken down? Something took it down. The owners of the land refused.
So what? 80 years. Okay. This is quite an. The question to you is: let's now quick. I still have a lot of comment, but I'll go back to that in a minute. Once again, this is your thought on Heritage Multimedia, and time now is exactly 7 minutes past 1700 hours. And as you can see, Tony is in Nigeria, and a lot of people are even saying whether we will have your debate, if we can get through very soon with you and Nnamdi Kanu, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, but we will work on that. But the solution,
I will consider that an insult. The fellow is a criminal that came to make profit in this venture, nothing less.
Why do you consider that an insult?
He does not. I call it an insult because if I were to ask you what it is, if I were to ask you to explain what it is he's looking for. If I were to ask you,
he's looking. Okay, yeah, I'll let you land.
Question,
yeah.
If I were to break down this question, that one question into 8, if you were the one that would take him, if you were the one that would take him to the UN today, assuming the UN knows you and wants to deal with you, say, look, that's your friend, bring him. What is the first question you're going to answer in the place? Is it not the exact territory that you seek independence for? None of those 42 organizations that LNC talked with has a map that defines the territory they want independence for. Not one of them. And I'm not telling you what somebody else told me. I'm telling you what transpired between we and them, eyeball to eyeball. Second, none of them had gone to sit down with the owners of those various places who are entitled to self-determination just like them. The LNC had done that. None of them has any plan at all on what will happen to the constitution. The LNC with his associate had called a meeting of the owners of Nigeria that decided an alternative constitution. I was also the secretary of the committee that drafted the constitution that came out from Pronaco that would have taken us back to what we abandoned in Aburi, which everybody is looking for now. Having done all of that, we then went to court in 2007 to put a process to it, to say, look, we're not anarchists. Court, from what we have inside this document, it is self-evident that we did not make it, and therefore the union has become a fraud against us. And all of those who are swearing to defend and uphold that constitution are committing treason against the rest of us. If we allow the angry people, we are the ones standing between the millions of angry young people and the actions they could have taken to liberate themselves from.
Let me get this clear. So what you're saying is, based on what Nnamdi Kanu is doing, from what you've just analyzed to me right now, and with his own message, is that not the same kind of message that you are also? The message is this: the message is that the country is not working, and they want the Biafra. And you are also saying the constitution and the sovereignty. Yeah.
They want Biafra. Now, you say you want something. You are in a prison compound with a whole number of people. The Yoruba also want out. Now, I'm sure you saw what happened, what Professor Akintoye and the Yoruba World Congress is saying.
I saw that, yes.
The Ijaw are fed up. The Ogoni are fed up. The Middle Belt more fed up. There's nobody that wants to be in the union of death. And if you say you want Biafra and you don't care how it can be attained, another organization puts a plan on the table that takes down the constitution that is the prison holding you, so that everybody can go at least go to referendum to decide whether they want to carry on or not. All the 75% of the work, these are the reason I call them criminals. We already categorize them as the globe.
We have a caller. Sorry to put you. We have a caller now on the line that will want to also join the conversation, and let's go straight to him. Hello, good afternoon, caller.
Good afternoon, caller.
Yes. Good afternoon, caller. Are you still there?
Mr. Yomikoiki.
Yes, good afternoon. Your name and where you're calling from. I know the voice, but for the benefit of those that are watching us from around the world, would you like to quickly introduce yourself, and then let's get your question to Tony. And he still hears?
Calling from London.
Okay.
That's my location.
Oh yes, go.
Very
Yes,
secret.
go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, please.
Because they tried to kill me after the expose by Tony Nandi. Now, I'm surprised, Mr. Koiki. I'm forced to blink, and I'm angry, and I'm rage that Nigerians can be so daft, and they can be so stupid that they don't know and they cannot differentiate. They can never differentiate their brains. We've got a man, Tony Nandi, who broke down the problems of your bloody location 9 that was contraption, that was fraudulently amalgamated from 1914 to the whole world. Credit should be given to Tony, in as much as we knew the fraud that was perpetrated on that nasty piece of a country that many people are so proud of Nigeria. Forgive me, I'm not a Nigerian. I'm an Oduduwa man. I'm a Yoruba man. I'm a very proud, conservative Yoruba man. I don't want to be a Yoruba man. I'm a Nigerian man. I'm a Yoruba man. Let them keep their Nigeria. Look, Tony, I destroyed my bloody, I don't want to use that word, their passport. Live, I destroyed it online. I burned their passport to send a signal to them that their country is about to be consumed in fire after you made that revelation, because I knew that my father fought for a one Nigeria, and they want to keep me in that contraption that I have been contracted for a long time. It's not going to happen. Anybody on this platform who abuse and accuse Tony of fighting for something that is not justice for Nigeria, let me tell you, go kill yourself if you're not happy. Kill yourself. Tony is the right man. And I see this man in front of your screen today as that man that will liberate you and I. Because he spoke the truth. He brought the truth out. He told everyone the contraption and the fraud that the British perpetrated in Nigeria, fighting from the south to the north. How dare you, Nigerians? How dare you begin to accuse Tony of someone that does not have the interest of Nigeria? If you are one of the Tinubu's, if you are one of the Fulani oligarchs, if you are one of those people that want to subject us, if you are one of those that doesn't want us to be who we are, where Nigeria was molded as a tree nation. Tony, I'm one of your greatest admirers. I even knew you were the one they were bringing onto this show. I knew.
Thank you.
Tony,
Thank you, caller. Let's. Yeah.
Earlier on today, but I was not. But the moment you came live, I told the CEO of Heritage TV, I knew you, and I am totally in support of you. They should break up Nigeria. I don't believe in Nigeria. My father does not believe in Nigeria. I don't want my own children to be passport of Nigeria. Let's break it up. The time is now. Over to you at the studio.
Well, thank you very much for calling in, Frank Bello. right here in London. I go back to you, Tony. There's quite a lot, comment, flooding through. But I want you to quickly land on the, what we were saying before that call came through.
Yes. So what I'm saying is that you want an outcome. There's you do not have any designs of your own that could ever bring that outcome. None. Then there is a mechanism that can deliver that outcome. You begin to sabotage that mechanism. They use that radio that they should have used to enlighten our people. All those materials you see on Facebook were the things I placed on the table for them to use the radio since 2013. You can see that most of those materials are dated before 2013. And they will not touch it. If we were explaining to our people why they do not have electricity, because it's on the exclusive list, nobody's going to get the electricity as long as it remains on the exclusive list. What was it that Abba Kyari went to do in Germany? You leave electricity on the exclusive list. You go to Germany to get Siemens to come and fix electricity for you. Which investor in his right mind will come to invest in such a thing that is absolutely dependent on the whims and caprices of people in one corner? Whereas if you remove electricity from the exclusive list today, Lagos could generate 40, 50,000 megawatts of electricity in a matter of 2-3 years. Eastern Nigeria does not have, Igbo land today does not have one electric power generation plant, not one. Oji River was there before Nigeria came to disrupt it. Aba died, Onitsha died, Newi died. The only reason we don't have electricity is that electricity is on that exclusive list. The only reason the security is upside down the way it is and people are being murdered all over the place is because arms and ammunition and police, all of them on that exclusive list, 68 items.
Let me come to you, Tony, because time is really fast approaching.
I'm just trying to let you know that those who seek self-determination, that's the language I will stick to. Self-determination. If we were to agree on how everybody will have that self-determination in a union, holding human life sacrosanct and holding all men equal, born equal, there's no reason why we can't have a union. But we're saying that the title document by which Nigeria is holding all of us hostage now is a forgery, cannot remain the basis of the union. There's a majority that is insisting they can't proceed with it. We are the ones organizing them not to get into Somalia kind of settlement. Let us get it step by step to where it becomes referendum. And the first thing that will happen is that no further elections will be tolerated under that constitution. Yes.
So what you're saying,
the first thing that will happen is that majority of the South and Middle Belt already decided that no further elections will be tolerated in their space under that constitution, because the winner of that election will govern with that constitution of master and servant.
Okay, that I think is
those who sit in Abuja and think that our sovereignty have been lost to them, they are going to come face to face with the owners of those sovereignties, because we don't even need a meeting to dissolve the union. If what they are doing, you have a company, your managers, the people you hire to run the company, go to distort your memo and article. They remove your name, put their name. That was what happened to us in 1966. And we've waited since after Abu to say, let us go back and make a union document. The one we made before had been lost. We had 5 constitutions. And people toppled it. The people who did it are still alive.
Can I ask you this question? Because
yes.
Going by the some of the not just only the comment but also what is out there. Do you think there's this disunity between what you are trying to do and also what the agitation from the Biafra? Do you think there's a kind of they will see this big problem ahead? Because if a lot of people thinks, look at you from a different angle and different point, and you've raised so much information, and you've been fighting this cause for the last 21 years, what do you understand by humanity? First and foremost, what do you understand, as humanity of today?
I don't understand the question itself. But let me begin to
Let me rephrase it. Let me rephrase it. A
Yes.
lot of people fight for a reason, and a lot of people, you're
Yes.
out now, right? You were working, and all of a sudden you thought, okay, maybe due to the humanity of the people or for something else. That is the reason why I did ask that question, and I think you understand that the point of the question now.
Yeah, the simple thing I want is for life to be preserved. Life has to be safe wherever, whether you're in Sokoto or you're in Port Harcourt. Hold on.
Okay.
Electricity is available to all, like it is available to you where you are. Clean water can run in all the kitchens. All those things that the rest of the world are taking for granted. The only reason why we can't take them for granted, the only way they've become unattainable for us, is because somebody imposed a system that makes sure that those things, a feudal system which only the emir and his children will be entitled, and they've imposed that feudal system on the rest of the country. That's why I have a governor that is not accountable to me, because the constitution gives him immunity. The constitution gives him the spare key to the treasury in section 122. The constitution gives the president the spare key to your treasury in section 82. And all of them who hold that key to the treasury for their own benefit have immunity. Section 6, section 60, remove the benefits of the citizen from the social contract that the constitution is supposed to be. That section annuls the whole of chapter 2 that spell out all the good things of life. So if they do not, meaning that under this constitution, they do not owe you any obligation. They do not owe you school or hospital or anything at all. They have the spare key to the treasury to take all the things in the place. They have immunity until they leave office. You can't question them. What
Okay.
else are you going to have that
Okay.
we have now?
Okay. What else are you going to have? And that takes me to this question. Let me come in there, Tony. I know, like I did mention, we came in with that's why I did ask you the weather, because we might be going out of this conversation with the British weather that a lot of people know. When it rains in the morning, it could be cold in the night, and it could be and sometimes you just have to take the jacket on. Once again, this is your thought, and like I said, our thought really matters. One question, and I want to really, because it's also generating a lot of power. Maybe people don't understand what you're saying. They're looking at it from your thought that is different from their thought. Do you want one Nigeria or a divorce?
I want a divorce at this time. There's nobody alive in Nigeria today. There's nobody alive in Nigeria today that has done 1/4 of what I've done to preserve that union in terms of bringing equity, because the union would die if equity was not brought in. That was what we went to try to restore in Aburi. They came back from Aburi, abandoned it, and began to kill people. Killed 3.5 million from my part. Everybody thought it was only the East that was going to be killed.
I saw some of that video facing out again on the social media last week.
There are people. There was a senator. There was a senator from Eastern Nigeria that was asking, who are these people? Because she never knew that it was that bad. Red Cross is still holding on to the videos they have, the pictures they have. Red Cross once told us that if they release those videos, that they could guarantee that in less than 1 month, nobody will be able to control Nigeria. The reason they banished the teaching of history, you can see, was it today or yesterday that the Secretary of the Government of Nigeria inaugurated a committee to revive Ajakuta steel. And we had to put it out there to tell them that they are wasting their time. Ajakuta was the reward to Russia for helping in the genocide of 3.5 million people. That is what has put that project the way it is. It will never take off. It will never go nowhere. It's sitting on the blood of 3.5 million people. So many things, and I come back to this matter of the people doing Biafra. Listen. Those people who say that they are doing Biafra, the only thing we have told all of them, the ones who are genuine, the ones who genuinely were looking for something for everybody. It did not take more than 30 minutes of meeting for them to collapse into what we were doing. They saw a plan that could bring them to referendum in which people will vote in certain formations, whether they want to proceed, because the collapse of the constitution is the end of the union. The collapse of the constitution is the end of the union in Greece. We are not anarchists, therefore we point everybody to South Africa. Was apartheid constitution changed by amendment? And you see lunatics that stand on the floor of the National Assembly of Nigeria to say that the ones who have to make constitution for me. It's like the management of a company you own telling you that you are no longer welcome to, the matter of the memo and article of your company. What will you do with such a people? That's what they are doing. They are committing treason against us, and we are going to ignore them because the sovereignties of the Yoruba is not subjugated to anybody. The sovereignty of the Ijo, the Igbo, the sovereignty of the Tiv, the sovereignty of the Jukun, the sovereignty of the Biram, we have gathered all of them. They have made out their charters and constitutions. There is internal cohesion. All of those who go on that said he went to break Eastern Nigeria in order to prevent them from, he has killed 3.5 million people to keep Nigeria one. Is Nigeria staying one now? And more people sticking to go. What's happening with these Biram people today? Is there anything that is happening now that didn't?
Let's take a pause there for a minute, and let's now take another question from the boss himself in just about a second. Go ahead with the question.
Right.
Tony, good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Afternoon. I have a very lovely question for you. Why will you think people are having a conception about you? They think you want one Nigeria, and you said you want a divorce. What have you done that they have this misconception? And is there a way we can repair this? Because, like a lot of you know, what I want a peace settlement for our people in the South. I don't care about people in the North, but the people in the South, I want a peace settlement for them so that when they finally get their own country, things will work for them. What can we do? What is there? And why did they have this misconception about you? Over to you in the studio.
The ones who have misconception are criminals who created those misconceptions and sold to other people. They know the truth, but that truth does not permit the franchise they've set up in the name of a sacred Biafra to which our people are prepared to commit anything. They pick up that name and go to defraud people all over the place. Now, are you more Biafran than Ojukwu, who was involved in this settlement plan? Are you more Biafran than Achebe? Are you Biafran than Achuzia? Enohoro was in it. Everybody who had ever fought for any part, the people who are wielding arms in the Niger Delta, they saw their own salvation in it. The Yoruba saw their own salvation in it. The Middle Belt, all of those who are being killed now, they saw their salvation in it. Because that constitution is what empowers that enemy to decimate all of them. And we have rallied all of them to how we can take down that constitution and come to where we are all voting in referendum to proceed or not to proceed. With a preliminary objection about Sharia, none of them want to have anything to do with people doing with 1 square inch of Sharia in any territory. And thank goodness, the 12 core states that pass Sharia are together on one side. Our interpretation for what they've done, and I'm saying this as a lawyer with specialty in jurisprudence, our interpretation to what they have done is that they have seceded from the secular union we were trying to build. We have no quarrel with them because they've exercised their right to self-determination. Remember, their state assemblies passed the Sharia and their governors signed it into law and set up Hizbah. As far as we are concerned, they are fed up with the secular union of Nigeria and they've exercised their right to self-determination. On account of the fact that the section 10 of this 1999 constitution expressly forbids what they've done, said there shall be no state religion. They consciously did it, and we came back to them to say, look, do you still want to be in this union? And it was a delegate from Katsina that moved the motion for the adoption of the finished product from that Pronaco process. So it wasn't something that I've named some of the people that are involved in it. This Yerima Shetima, the one that is saying that there will be war if the South reject the marginaries that they are pouring in scores and scores of trailers into the South. People, we don't know where they're coming from. You throw up the borders open and ask all the Fulani from all over the world to come into Nigeria. That you saw the governor in Bauchi saying that Nigeria, that all the Fulani from everywhere in the world, in Africa, are Nigerians. And then you had a Fulani president throwing our borders open for all of them to come in, and you saw them trooping in. Today they are dumping all those people in the southern part of Nigeria. Who knows what their schemes are? So we are not interested in being in a union with people who owe it a duty of faith to kill the rest of us. So that point is a preliminary objection that must be cleared. And then this matter of feudalism, of people thinking that all men are not born equal, therefore they are born to rule. If those two are not settled, there won't even be any basis for any meeting to consider what will happen. As for whether that constitution will go down, it's already gone down. It's already gone. And 3/4 of the country are on one side. If you want to test your might to go and beat them up, I can only wish you good luck. It is that same caliphate that brought ISIS. You saw in 2014 when Boko Haram exchanged and they became ISWAP. And you see what has happened to the sub-region. And we're saying we cannot be in a union with whose sympathies, whose loyalty and allegiance do not lie with the country we thought we were building together. And so all of what we have done is to bring process into the matter. We have brought a process into the matter. We went to the UN long before any one of them realized anything was going on. We went to the UN from the onset to find out how the process can be managed so it doesn't become an anarchy. And everything we've done is according to that process. We want to bring our people to where they are the ones voting in a referendum for whether they want to remain in the union or with who or without who. That is what we are seeking to do. We can't arrogate to ourselves that this is what our people want. It has to go to a referendum. That is how such things are resolved in the 21st century. All of those people who are pretending they want Biafra, because if we had not engaged them, initially I thought it was a matter of ignorance. But when I had engaged them between the last and the 12 to 15 years, we had engaged every one of the groups, including the one that calls himself a maker, the one that they say is doing mobbing, all of them, without exception. The honest ones amongst them, the mass-up that you have today, is not the Wazirike's mass-up. Wazirike had stepped away from the mass-up that is on ground, the one that was working with IPOB at the time they were still on the street. But when the time came for all of them to be brought into this discussion the second time, because the leaders of those organizations over the years had evolved, had moved on, and other people took over, we again came back to say to them, at the time in that 2015 that they gathered on the street, we came to explain to them. It was Achuze that called all of them. Everybody accepted what we proposed as the process to get to the destination they seek. To get to referendum. That's how far I'm prepared to go. Two items. Okay. This constitution cannot remain the basis of Nigeria. Second, referendums will have to take place for people to commit or not to commit. If no meeting is called, I can assure you that the default is that the defunct Federation of Nigeria will fall into its natural path. All the documents that will make it happen are already in place. You saw the Yoruba going to the UN with their own. The East is ready, the Middle Belt is ready, and it's not a matter for the kind of fight of go and shoot gun. No. The whole of last year, from January to the end of July, the United States was busy interrogating this same question in all the departments.